joined today by Coach Bill Blankenship. Coach, thanks so much for joining us on the call. First, thanks again for your patience in holding on while we ran a little behind schedule. Welcome to the conference. If you could tell us a little bit about how your spring went and then what you expect to see from your team this summer as you move into the 2014 season.
Absolutely. We're very excited to be a part of this league and really feel like that it's an opportunity for us to continue to grow our program. And it went into spring coming off a very disappointing year at 3-9, and we couldn't hide from that. Kind of the pluses in a tough year were that we played a lot of young players. We, as you pointed out, I think we've got 50 plus guys that had significant playing time during the year. That's good and bad. Obviously, if they were better, we would have accomplished even more. But to have 19 starters back gives us an opportunity, much like I heard Tony talking, you can take your program a little bit further in spring. Really felt like we had to emphasize getting physically tough. A lot of our young players, it's one of the I think the hallmarks of Tulsa football the last few years has been a physical toughness, and I don't think that's where we were a year ago, and a lot of that was because of playing young players. And so we got much better at that over the spring, rebuilt our offensive system. Feel like we're coming out of spring, even though we had a lot of guys returning. 6 of our starters actually had to sit out spring due to coming back from injury, but they'll be cleared and ready to go for the fall. So that allowed us to build depth in a lot of key areas. And so I felt really, really good that we've built depth in both lines, trying to find a few more receivers to help us, and defensive backs have really stepped up. The key for us coming out of spring was replacing some key players. Sean Jackson was our player of the year at linebacker, and so we've had to try to find some depth at linebacker. Felt like we accomplished that. Also at running back, Trey Watts had been a premier. He and Jatarian Douglas premier running backs for us for the last 3 years, and so that was a huge question mark. We felt really good after spring concluded. One junior college transfer, Tavarian Dickerson, and James Flanders, who was already here, had really exceptional springs for us. So we feel like we found some needed help at running back, and look forward to moving into the new season.
Any questions for Coach Blankenship, please hit *1 on your telephone to join the queue. The operator will introduce you.
We'll take our first question from Desmond Connor with the Hartford Courant.
Hi, Coach. How's it going?
Thanks, Desmond. Doing well.
For those who don't know about Tulsa football, what can you tell us, and what can the league expect from the program?
Well, we pride ourselves in being the smallest enrollment in Division I-A football, and that may seem kind of strange, but we think that there's a uniqueness to Tulsa. We consider ourselves to be uncommon. We love that. We get young men in here that compete at a very high level, both on the field and in the classroom. Because of that, we've had a lot of success through our era in Conference USA. Had some really good years. 2 years ago, won the conference and won the Liberty Bowl. Had to reload last year, and with that didn't accomplish what we should have. We traditionally have put some really strong defenses out on the field the last few years, and I think we'll do that again. We've had some pretty special playmakers, and again, I think we can continue to bring that to the table. But Tulsa has a long history of offensive football, and that's something that we took very seriously when we looked at our poor performance a year ago, and felt like we've got to do some things to reestablish ourselves in that area. But I think the new conference will maybe enjoy their trips to Tulsa and might find it a little different from what they expect.
Thanks a lot, Coach.
Thanks, Desmond. Any other questions for Coach Blankenship, please? *1 on your telephone. Coach, Coach. It looks like that might be it.
Very good.
Someone chime in. Here we go. Nope, we did have someone chime in, if you could. Thanks.
All right.
We'll take our next question from Gary Smith with New Orleans Advocate.
Hi, Coach. A lot of the coaches, they're joining American Athletic Conference. They're talking about what an upgrade it is, the challenges. How do you see that? How much of an upgrade do you feel it is, and how can it help Tulsa, too?
Well, I think on a number of levels, Gary, that it's a huge upgrade for us. If you took the very best teams out of Conference USA and said, let's take that top-tier group, that's the teams that are now in the American. And then, oh, by the way, add, Cincinnati and South Florida and UConn and Temple. And, it's just incredible upgrade of getting, I think, a much more competitive across-the-board every week kind of schedule. The success that UCF had a year ago in the Fiesta Bowl, the consistent kind of success that we've seen throughout those other teams that have joined the league, I think is going to elevate all of us. And so, that rising tide, raises us all up. So that's something we're excited about. I know it's made a difference going into homes to have a conversation with student athletes and their parents about where we play and who we play. The TV contracts of being on ESPN, ABC, all those kind of things, I think are bonuses for us that maybe too often get taken for granted.
Thanks.
Thank you, Gary.
And we'll take our next question from Shannon Owens with Orlando Sentinel.
Good afternoon, Coach, and welcome to the conference.
Hey, Shannon, good to talk to you again.
Couple quick questions. With the change to the American Conference, how has that impacted recruiting over the last recruiting cycle? And then secondly, with the change to the college football playoff format, what kind of sense of urgency is there now to win and win immediately?
Great questions. First of all, the recruiting, there's kind of a double edge to the change. We haven't changed our profile of who we recruit. That's a very specific young man that we think fits at the University of Tulsa. We have a certain level of player that we believe that everybody's, probably all the other coaches in the league are looking for the same guy. If you can't play in the Big 12 or SEC, then really we're not trying to recruit you for our conference. We just think those guys are out there if we'll just bust our hump a little more and look a little harder. And then if they have the really academic fit to come to the University of Tulsa, then it's a home run for us. So that profile hasn't changed. The opportunity, though, to get more of those profile kids to be interested in us, I think, has changed. And that's what the connection to the American Conference has done. It's separated us, I believe, from the other five non-power, if you want to use that. I hate that phrase, but that's the way it gets to be described. And I think it's helped us to elevate to being kind of the premier of the others, and at least perception-wise, as we go into recruit, that's the result and the feel that we get from our youngsters. You're asking about the playoffs as well. The thing that I think that does is it gives every one of us, when the season starts, when we meet with our kids on August 1st or whenever fall camp starts, all across America, people are going to say, how many of you really want to play for that championship? And everybody's going to raise their hand. But in the past, you really knew that you didn't have a chance. Now, there is. Now, you got to run the table. We got to do some things right. All those things happen, but there is a possibility that you can always play for a playoff. Again, I think building on the success that UCF had last year in the Fiesta Bowl and what some of us have done prior to that, I think gives us the reality in our dream of knowing that can happen.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Time for one more for Coach Blankenship, please.
We'll take our last question from Gary Smith with the New Orleans Advocate.
Sure. And Coach, you guys are opening with Tulane next year, and
yes, sir.
a program Tulane you guys had owned until last year. What was the obviously when Tulane made a huge improvement? What is the biggest difference you saw in Tulane last year, and what do you see in Tulane coming in the next couple of years from the Tulane of the past?
Well, I think Coach CJ has done a fabulous job of doing a number of things. One, he's gotten his young men to believe in their system. He's upgraded the talents noticeably. Guys with speed and quickness are all over that field. They played inspired a year ago. They were, I think, hungry. And those are things that, are really a recipe for building your program. And I think he's done a fabulous job of just, putting together a staff that the players can work under and believe in, and then, build a little momentum. And when you've not been consistently winning, that stuff gets contagious. And it's really important to build on success, and I think Tulane's really on track to really turn that completely around, and certainly we've got that date scheduled or circled on our schedule as a huge matchup, and not only will be our opening game, but it'll be our opening game in the conference, and so excited about it, but also know that we'll have our hands full.
Thank you.
Coach, thank you so much for the time today. I hope you have a great summer and look forward to seeing you in Newport at the end of July.